So this is a new one for us. It's an MCI Dressage test and it's equivalent to British Dressage medium level. So I hope you enjoy the vlog. So it's the beginning of the year and yeah, December, complete wipeout. I have done hardly anything with Elf. He lost a shoe. It was raining constantly, then I put my back out, had a bulging disc in my back, so I couldn't ride really for a few days. So anyway, beginning of January, then this whole British Dressage weight rule thing has come up in the press. I think, within the 20% for him, but it's kind of put me off doing BD, to be honest, along with the fact that the venues are all quite far away from me, and also the expense of the membership. For doing medium level tests you have to be a full member. Quest only goes up to novice level, and we're not doing novice anymore, we're sort of doing elementaries, mediums upwards. So it just for those reasons I decided I'm not doing British Dressage this year. I might do some unaffiliated BD tests. Potentially I might do something on a ticket. I think they seem to have some sort of ticket thing. I need to look into that. But anyway, so instead of that, I have decided I've got some goals for this year, and one of my goals was to join MCI, which is the Masters de Cheval Ibérique, I think stands for that. So it's the Iberian Horse Masters Dressage Series. It's a European dressage series, and the tests are geared towards Iberian horses, so they're much better for his type of busy brain, and they've now got a venue near me which is called Quab. They are now offering MCI tests, so it just seemed a good time to do it. Membership, I think, for both myself and Elf was £55. So that's affordable, and they are running tests on a Wednesday and a Saturday every month, or a Wednesday or a Saturday. So both of those days are quite good for me, because Wednesday is one of my work for myself days where I don't have my part-time job. So I can go off and do some competitions if I can get help to come with me, or once we've been there a few times I could probably even go by myself. Also, the other good thing is there is only one test for each level, so you don't have to keep learning different tests. I really struggle with that. Time-wise, I never have enough time to learn things, and because I'm always doing things in a rush, it doesn't sink in. So for me, just having one test of each level of the there's two levels I want to do, that's going to be much better for us. I don't have to learn lots of different tests. And the other advantage is my second goal that I want to achieve this year is to learn changes with Elf. So I've learnt how to ride changes on some schoolmaster horses. So I'm not great at them, but I'm good enough. I kind of know roughly what I'm doing with them. And I think his canter is now much more balanced. And after the lesson with Rafael Soto, he seemed to think we were getting towards starting changes. So that is my goal. And the nice thing about the MCI Dressage tests is when you get to Sevilla, which is their kind of equivalent of medium / advanced medium, you can choose whether you do a simple change or a flying change. So that's great, because I can compete at that level all year, get the points, and potentially qualify for the nationals, which would be nice. And I can, if we manage to crack changes later in the year, I can ride a change in the test, or if we want to just stick to doing simple changes, I can do that. So that works really well. So that is my goal for this year. So today I went for my first lesson with a lady called Shirley Foley. She's about an hour away from me, but she has ridden MCI tests and is also a BD instructor, but she's competed internationally with the MCI. So I really wanted to go to somebody that could help me understand the tests. The terminology is slightly different, and because the rain has just not stopped, usually I would go and have an online lesson with Philip using my Pivo. Philip is Il Forbio's breeder who is in Spain, and I love my online lessons with him, but the weather has just been so relentless that it's been impossible for me to book any lessons with him, because I don't want to put the Pivo out in the rain, and there are no indoor arenas that I can hire close enough to me. that I think will have good enough signal for me to actually connect online to him. So yeah, so I thought I'd try a lesson with Shirley, and this is how it went. So I only actually found out a week or two before they launched the QUAB dates for the MCI, that QUAB were doing MCI. So I didn't have very long to actually join as a member and actually run through these tests. So the purpose of this lesson with Shirley was to ride through the Golga and Sevilla tests and just decide which one I was going to actually enter, because I could only afford to do one, and I didn't really have time to learn 2 tests in such a rush either. So yeah, the purpose of this was just to ride through both of the tests, and this is the Sevilla test, which is the one I decided I preferred and suited him more, which is the slightly higher level one. So yeah, this video clip's actually from my second lesson that I had with Shirley, and my husband popped along to help film, and Shirley read the test out for me, because there's no online videos of people calling this test that you can use to learn, which is usually the way I learn my British dressage tests. I'll find one of the sort of online YouTube videos of people doing it. But yeah, there wasn't anything like that, so I got my husband to come along and record this with Shirley calling the test, which then gave me a tool to just re-watch it and practice the pattern in my head and try and learn it as much as possible, because I didn't have many opportunities to ride through it. So he's still a little bit tense here, because being only the second time he'd been here, he was still a little bit looky at things, but settled more quickly than in our first lesson when he was spooking at birds flying off in the fields and things. But yeah, no, I felt he was going quite nicely here. So this is definitely going to be our worst part in the test. The simple changes, he's just very hard to get back to the walk for these, so it always looks a little bit scrappy, and again the canter leads aren't always consistent. So we're starting to listen a little bit more here, but yeah, we definitely need a lot more practice on these. Cantering onto a centre line as well is a very new thing for us. It's quite a tight turn, really. So I really got a lot out of that lesson. It was really useful, and thank goodness I did do it, because the weather got really bad. So it's been -2 overnight, so it's quite hard and frosty up here. I think it might have gone down to -3, but actually I quite like it like this, because the ground is hard. I can push the wheelbarrow where I want it to go, yeah, look, when you're poo picking, it just sort of comes up in one solid pancake, which is quite good. Yeah, so just doing a little bit more poo picking. I've just had a hay delivery, so I've got 2 more big bales of hay that have come, and then I'm going to go home, pack some boot orders. I've done a big sale, so I've got a lot of orders to pack, and then later on this afternoon I'm going over to Amber's, and I'm going to try and run through some bits as much as we can, because her arena is a bit short for 20 by 60 tests, but we're going to run through as much as we can for the MCI Dressage test tomorrow. So yeah, but I'm really glad the trough is still running. That is the main thing, because it is a real ball ache when you have to start filling up water from home, and my outdoor tap at home is actually frozen. So it's good the trough's still running. I have filled up all the water and topped up some buckets just so I've got extra in case it does freeze over later. So I got a load of boot orders packed up, and then came back up to the field to get ready for my lesson. Oh good, so I'm walking down the hill, and the horses have not been down in through that gate to the bottom field for 4 months, I leave it open so they can have some nice grass. Oh look, oh, now he thinks his friends are going. But because he's seen the lorry, he's like, oh, today I'm going to go down in the bottom field. Oh. That's all very lovely. This has basically become a game. Every time I turn up in the lorry, Elf and Estrella run around and then they let me catch him a few minutes later. Elfie, can we not have the running around game today because we need to get to our lesson? I've got a stud muffin. I've got a nice biscuit for you. Do you want a nice stud muffin? Christmas pudding flavour? No. No, I actually want to gallop around and try and break my leg on the hard, frosty, lumpy ground. That's what I really want to do, Mother. Well, I uttered the words biscuit and Christmas pudding stud muffin, and funnily enough, he decided to let me catch him straight after galloping up there. So, yeah. Oh, Amber's ringing me. Right, so that was Amber ringing me, just to say she's just gotten one of the other horses in the arena. Hello, Stray. And it is still frozen solid. So actually, there's no point me going because I was meant to be running through my dressage test, but there is no point running through a dressage test if I can't even do more than walk on very hard ground. So yeah, so that's the end of that. So I am going to put Elf back in the, well, it's not out the field yet. We didn't even make it out the field. You got your biscuit though, didn't you? So that's good. So yeah, I'm just gonna go back and do some work instead. And yeah, I know the test isn't going to go amazingly tomorrow anyway because I haven't had enough practice leading up, but I can't really do much about it at this time of year with no arena and everything frozen or completely waterlogged. So, excuse me, Strelly, you are cheeky. You are cheeky. Right, okay, going back to do some work. Yeah, so just to explain why Elf will be looking like a complete mess tomorrow. This is my in and out of my field, so to get him out to load him he has to go through all this like fetlock deep slushy mud and ice. So whatever I do, I don't think he's going to be looking particularly amazing tomorrow, and obviously it's too cold to be bathing him, and I only have a trough with buckets to bath from anyway. So yeah, he's just going to look dirty. It's that time of year, there's nothing I can do about it, and you know, that's where we're at. So I'm slightly concerned because, again, my back door of my lorry has frozen shut, which is quite annoying. I'm not entirely sure whether my saddle pad, yeah, still won't open. I don't know if my white saddle pad is in there or at home. I know one of my jackets is in there, and I know one of my pairs of show boots are in there. I do have a new pair of my arborio lace-up dressage boots that I can wear if I really can't get them out, but ideally I'd really rather just ride in my ones that I usually ride in because I haven't really worn in my arborio ones fully, and they're still a bit high behind the knee where they haven't dropped properly. So yes, let's hope by tomorrow that will have defrosted and I can actually get my stuff out. Yeah, God, this time of year is just a complete ball ache, isn't it? Yeah, roll on summer. So everything's crammed in the front of the lorry because I couldn't open the door to put it in when I loaded my stuff up to supposedly go for my lesson. So yeah, anyway, and my hat's looking really nice because it was really sweaty and disgusting and wet inside from my lesson the other day. So I took it out and put it on my front car seat yesterday when I was driving to work to try and give it a chance to dry off with the fans, because otherwise my car is damp and it doesn't really dry anything. And then my dog decided to try and talk to my friend through the window and climb over the top of it with her wet, dripping, muddy paws. So even my hat looks like a complete state now. So yeah, I'm just going to look a mess tomorrow. I haven't got time to clean it all because I've got loads of work to do. So it's, yeah, it is what it is. So before I crack on with wrapping boots, because I'm back early, I've got some apple. My workmate gave me in the office the other day his apple that he hadn't got around to eating and said take it to the horses, but I don't actually really give my horses apples very often because They're a bit susceptible to sugar, ulcers and things like that, and also it makes them a little bit grabby and horrible about things. So, but the chickens, if I can get in there, will be very happy to have some apple. Oh, there you go, girls. Right, so I've just given them, I give them a bit of corn, a little jar of corn sprinkled on the back as well. So yeah, they've got the end of our Christmas tree, and yeah, it's just horrible this time of year, isn't it? Everything just looks muddy and foul. We put some wood chip in there for them, so they have had that. And yeah, I bring hay back from the horses and they have that to scratch around in, which they like. So, I mean, they seem happy enough, and they're laying 3 eggs out of 4 chickens a day. So they're obviously pretty happy with life, but we'd like to make them a bigger pen, like a longer run at some point. So, but yeah, it's just money, because this egg stuff is expensive, isn't it? And yeah, because of flock down and bird flu, obviously they're not allowed out, so they just are in there at the moment. But they've never known anything different, because when we got them, they were point of lay. I think they were about 11, 12 weeks old, and they'd just been living in a stable. Here comes Mr. Robin. Hello, Robin. Hello. What are you doing? You're not really meant to be hanging around with chickens, are you? When it's meant to be bird flu time, you're not really meant to be hanging around with them. Not really much we can do to stop you sitting by the side there, can we? Obviously we've got a cover on top, which is like the requirement for bird flu, but anyway. So yeah, so anyway, as I was saying, the chickens don't know anything different, because they've never lived in a bigger run than this, and when we picked them up they were just living with loads of other chickens in a stable. So, you know, but they seem pretty happy. But yeah, we'd like to give them a bit more space, so that's definitely a summer project. So it's the day of the competition. I'm feeling a bit apprehensive, because obviously I haven't had my last practice as planned. So yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. Why is it always when you have something going on, like a competition, that is the day that your horses decide to completely break the fencing? This has been here for years. I never have a problem with this bit of fencing, but they've pulled it apart, so now the slip rails don't work, and I'm now having to bang it together. I've got parcels to go and drop at the post office, and then I've just got to try and clean my tack and get ready, because I was up till 1 in the morning doing parcels last night, so I haven't got any of my own stuff ready for the competition today. But anyway, yeah, story of my life. Nothing ever really goes to plan, and yeah, I just wish I could have a yard that is not falling apart really, but anyway, it is what it is. Right, probably can't hear me. I'm trying to defrost the door. So Soph has turned up, and we've left a little bit of extra time to use the hairdryer to try and get the back door open. Right, hopefully, no, it's still not quite going to open. Oh, finally managed to defrost the door. I don't know what it is. It seems like the water pools down in this bottom corner. I've wiped it out now, but it just pools in there, and then it freezes solid, and it just stops the door opening. It's a bit of a pain. I might have to try and, I don't know, do something about it. Anyway, we can go. So now I could get my competition boots out the back of the lorry. We were able to get to the yard, load Elf after catching him, and he was very good. Oh, Elfie, you're so cute. Good boy. You're sleepy. You're sleepy. So, yes, just trying to pack him up. His mane is half grown back from where it rubbed out in the summer, so it's got like a big, short, but really thick, chunky bit in the middle, so I've kind of done my best in it. I don't think it's looking terribly beautiful, but as long as they stay in, that's all I'm bothered about today. It's all we care about, isn't it? So yes, we're going to do this forelock and then pack them up. Do you think it's sweeties? It's not, it's rubber bands. It's rubber bands. Anyway, not very exciting. So yeah, he's rubbed out so much of his forelock, sadly. Obviously that's the bit that's not covered by his by his rug neck. So yeah, I've just ordered him another kind of bodysuit that's got ears, that a bonnet that comes over here to try and protect it a bit. So, but also I've taken him off alfalfa, because I think maybe alfalfa, even though that's what he's always been on, but it is known to be a trigger for scratching and skin things. So I'm hoping that might help as well, taking him off that. So now he's just on grass nuts instead of alfalfa. So yeah, we'll just have to see. Hopefully we'll be able to keep a mane this year. Would be nice, because he looked a bit of a mess last summer. What are you doing, Elfie? That feels funny. Funny boy. You're a funny boy. Yes, you are.
He's enjoying it.
He knows there's biscuits in there, don't you? Hmm? Can you smell the biscuits? So my friend Jane gave me this magic brush for Christmas, which we only just caught up with each other the other day, even though it's the middle of January. So actually in the dark, while he was having his dinner last night, I used it to brush his face off, and it does seem to have actually removed a few of the stains. So I'm quite impressed with that, because he had like mud all up here above his eyes, but it doesn't look too bad. So yeah. Right, there you go. You can have a biscuit now. There you go. So the outdoor arena was still really frozen, even though our time was like 3 o'clock-ish. So we warmed up in this smaller indoor, which the surface, it's okay, but because it hadn't fully defrosted either, it was a little bit hard. So this was not our best ever warm-up by any stretch of the imagination, but it it gave us enough to get warmed up slightly, and everyone was in the same boat with the ground being quite frozen. So you just got to make the best of what you've got on the day, haven't you? So the indoor arena was absolutely lovely and was riding really nicely, and there's not too much in the way of spooky things, and a very lovely lady offered to call my test for me, because I was very worried, considering I hadn't had a last run through as planned, that I would forget the test. There's quite a lot to it. He's just having a little look at the doors out to the outdoor there, but yeah, other than that he was pretty good. He didn't really look at too much, just a quick look in the mirrors when we first went in. So something that's new at this level for us is that everything has to be done in sitting trot, and that includes the medium trots. And when we've done BD medium tests, unaffiliated or whatever, but anyway, at BD tests you can rise for the medium trots, but you can't do that for the MCI. It all has to be sitting. So I was really pleased with this first bit, and we actually managed to do a relatively good halt. He didn't fidget too much and he didn't sidestep. So the shoulder in was a little bit lacking, but this medium trot I was pleased with. Not a terrible half pass, not the best, but not terrible, somewhere in between. There was just a little glitch with the recording here. It stopped and started, so it just missed a tiny bit of that. So again, we just lost a little bit of the impulsion in the shoulder in here, but the medium we got a good mark for. I can't remember what it was, but I think we might have even got a 7 or a 7.5 for this. So yeah, quite pleased with this half pass. Not too bad an angle, and the impulsion wasn't too bad. I think he got a bit confused what I was asking here, so he's quite caught us in. This was just meant to be sort of like a smooth turn across on a straight line, and he's also doing his head flicking, which is always very annoying in the middle of a test, but yeah, we're again working on that. I think we didn't get too bad a mark for this more extended walk. So we got a good mark for that walk to canter transition at that first marker, and then we got a really good mark for the medium canter as well. So yeah, you know, the canter work's definitely going in the right direction. It's just some of the transitions for us, that's where we really need to nail it down, and that will help us get better marks. So this is the bit I'm panicking about slightly, where you can do the simple change or the flying change. Obviously we're going for a simple change. He stalled a bit, and then, you know, this transition was terrible. Yeah, but anyway, we got the right leg, so. And again, once we've actually got into the canter, we've got good marks for this part. So yeah, you know, it's just the transitions. We will get there. It's you know, it's a lot asking to do these downwards canter to walk transitions. We haven't practiced them enough, so we will get there with it. So apart from a bit of jog trotting before we got back into the walk, this actually wasn't too bad. The upwards transition was quite nice. And then we've got this very tight turn onto the centre line. And at this point, I'm thinking, I'm not sure where I is. Is it the first one before the judge or the second one before the judge? I couldn't remember. I think my indecision and slight panicking is why this halt was not particularly great, and a lot of shuffling around. I didn't prep it properly, my fault. Yeah, I'm really pleased with how he went. He was such a good boy. He felt quite relaxed, and I think we managed to hit all our markers. I had a bit of a brain fart at the end, and I couldn't remember where I was for the final halt, but I think I stopped at the right one. So, but yeah, he got his canter leads right. You know, yeah, there's a few little fluffy bits, but it was pretty good in general, considering the limited practice we've been able to have. So he's earned lots of biscuits, haven't you? Yes, you have. You've been very, very good boy. Very pleased with you. So yeah, definitely something good to work on. So a quick summing up of the MCI competition. So yeah, obviously we didn't have an amazing lead up, what with the frozen school and then the horrible rain, meaning we've not really been able to get very much good work in over the last few weeks. But I was so pleased with him. We came away with 65%, which is more than a qualifying score for the nationals. So I think you need to just get 2 scores. I think it's over 62% to qualify for nationals. So I'm really chuffed that we've already got one of those scores on our first outing. But yeah, just looking through the sheet, we got a 7.5 for our first centre line and halt, which was great because he's been a bit annoying about shuffling around in his halt and moving once you do it and sticking a leg out to the side. So yeah, I was really pleased we sussed that and got a good halt. And we got quite a few nice 6s or 7s for the first bits and the trot work. Shoulder in, we got a 6 for one of them. Just said losing impulsion, which is fair enough. Got a 7 for our medium trot change of the rein. Yeah, half pass, 6.5 for the second half pass, so pleased with that. Our pirouettes we need to work on a little bit. We didn't get such good marks for that. I think we got a 5 for the second one. And then the walk work, we got 6.5. I would say our walk work isn't our best. He can be a little bit tense and he tends to fidget with his head a lot in the walks. He finds it boring. So, but yes, anyway, then we got a 7 for our first walk to canter transition. So that's really good. And 7.5 for the medium canter work, which I'm really chuffed with. 7, and then we got a 4 for the change of rein and working canter. This is what I knew we were not going to get good marks for the simple changes. It's a new thing to us, and we are working on that, and he does get quite he's hard to bring back to the walk, and then when he sort of tends to jog trot a bit rather than just go straight to the walk, and then he gets quite muddled sometimes with his legs, so he did a bit of a sort of funny upwards transition, which if you look at the video he sort of does it almost like a flying change with the front half. But yeah, in fact when I screenshot some of the bits of the video, he sorry, that's my budgie. Yeah, when I screenshot some of the video, it actually looks like he's rearing because he kind of came up so far. And then we got 7s for the rest of the canter work, and then a 5 for the next simple change, but yeah, fair enough. And then a 6 for the last working trot to halt down the centre line, which because he did shuffle around a bit. And the comment from the judge, we got a very nice horse and many pleasing parts. Now needs to be more active and through and supple back for more ease in the contact. So completely fair enough, and I'm completely on board with those comments. So yes, very, very pleased with that. He was just a very well behaved horse generally to be around at the show. I was very happy with how he warmed up. We had to go in the small indoor because the outdoor was frozen solid, so we had to just go in the smaller indoor, which hasn't got the most amazing surface, and it was a little bit kind of rocky, not rocky, but like where it had frozen a bit as well, it was still quite hard. So the warm-up wasn't completely ideal, and we had 2 other big horses in there with us, but he dealt really well with that. So yeah, my buddies are obviously enjoying this conversation a lot. Yeah, so I was very pleased with him about that. And I just wanted to say as well, I got a really lovely comment from one of my friends. So I put some pictures up of our competition, and lots of people are like, well done and great. And one of my friends, Hannah, she put a really lovely comment. She said, I think it's honourable how much effort you put in to improve. Freddie? I think it's honourable how much effort you put in to improve and work in this cold weather. Brilliant. And I thought, it's really nice that someone's recognised that, because I do feel like I put in so much hard work with the horses, and it can be a little bit disheartening at times. Like sometimes you turn up at these venues and everybody else has got absolutely immaculate stuff. They've got loads of people helping them, and they've got it's quite obvious that their horses have come from clean, stable yards with hard standing, and they've obviously been able to bath their horses and dry them off properly with solariums and all that kind of stuff. That, you know, I don't have any of that. My horse gets dragged out of a muddy field. I've got no way to bath him other than a bucket of water from a trough, and he is grey, so it's not the best combination. So, you know, it makes me feel quite proud sometimes when I look at our pictures and I think, yeah, you know, we do manage to go out and do our best, and he does generally look, you know, I managed to get him to some level of cleanness. I know he's not going to be the cleanest one out there when you're up against that sort of, you know, that level of facilities that other people have, but I think we turn out nicely and we do our best, and I'm always really proud of him because he is just such a good boy. And for me, it's not about, you know, having all the posh gear and all the rest of it. It's about having a nice relationship with my horse, going out, enjoying what we do, and hopefully improving on our scores. And I'm not even that interested in qualifying for things or, you know, winning things or rosettes or any of that. All I ever care about is that we are improving on our scores and just that our training's going in the right direction, really, because that for me is what it's about. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the vlog. Sorry for the budgie singing away in the background, but she's obviously in a very good mood today because it's sunnier. And I'll catch up with you all soon. Hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
So a big thank you to Shirley Foley for all of her help with learning the test and riding through it with me, and just, you know, the advice with that, and also to Soph for coming along to help on the day. We actually had a really good outing, so I'm really pleased. If you enjoyed the vlog, don't forget to subscribe and you'll be notified of new videos.